you give. That's where the healing power comes through when you release. We can't, as men, we cannot be blessed until we learn how to release what we have to other men to help them. That's where our blessing comes in. But if you continue to hold that stuff in and hide behind that mask, you will never get blessed because you're holding everything back. Because God's glory cannot be manifested in the physical unless you release it in somebody else's life.
That's right.
Boy. I'll read this one. Encouraging males to embrace safe platonic touch. I'm going to go through a few, maybe A and B here. Touch is a delicate subject, which we already know. We talked about that. Men are often isolated from touch at an early age by both parents, and that the lack of gentle platonic touch is a killer, which we talked about. As one author stated, he decided he would try a different approach and never give up hugging his son or holding his hand when the opportunity presented itself. And I do that with my grandson. Every time I'm with him, give me your hand, son. Give me your hand. So he can start getting used to the touch. I tell him that I love him. He says he loved me. He kissed me yesterday. I kissed him. The show is not wrong to do that. As you get older, in certain ways you have to learn how to release that. It's all right to be affectionate, but affectionate in the right way. You know what I'm saying? So if we don't put this in a boy's heart and in his spirit while he's younger, as he grows older, he's gonna fall right into the same status quo as everybody else is doing, and he's gonna be at the whims of the enemy, and he's gonna be defeated the same way every other man is being defeated. You know, plain and simple. All right. The author continued and said that this notion of touch between men felt sort of radical. And he stated to wonder why. He found himself agreeing that for the most part, this physical form of isolation seems true for most men. All right? Though not all of us, many of us get cut off from touch at a relatively young age, which we already talked about. And we talked about the developmental stages of this stuff. And it can be very detrimental to very young kids. Our rights and socialization are deeply ingrained in us, and often we hand down our customs. Here we talk about this thing, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, traditions without ever questioning them, even if they are no longer relevant or necessary.
Key word that stuck out to me was condition. And we live in a society that's so conditioned to do this and do that.
Yes.
If you don't do it,
yes,
they put you in this, they label you. Which is another form for condition that I can compare to for as the man block.
Yes.
And so we live in a society where they want you to conform to a certain image.
That's right.
Or a certain type.
That's right.
And when you do go outside the tradition or the man box, they count you as odd.
Oh, see that?
Weird.
Yeah.
Or something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Things like that.
All right. So we did talk about this a couple of weeks ago, talk about when we don't conform or we do conform. I lost train of thought. What happens in society when we do those things, we're conforming. But then when we don't conform, we the ones that are wrong. We're the one that's wrong, and society is right. But we talked about, what did we talk about the other day? It's coming to me and it's fading. That's not the enemy. The enemy's trying to block my thoughts here. How it'll come back to me in a minute. I'll think about it in a minute. Let's go down to the conversation about masculinity.
Conversation about masculinity, starving men. By forbidding touch, particular touch between males, men in our culture experience life in a world devoid of unconditional human contact.
That's right.
Devoid of unconditional human contact.
That's powerful.
When I was a little boy, there was a point.
Read the middle part right here. Oh, you read it. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry to disturb you.
There was a point at which my dad stopped at kissing me and holding me. He was very clear that I couldn't do that anymore. It was time for me to be a man. I was not. Story from an anonymous man. And
praise be to God. That's powerful.
So we live in a society, at this point, a male has already been conformed to the society mechanism towards what it is to be a man. And this is where the generational curse come in. So now in the same way he was taught, now he
passing on to his son.
And the question is, from a Jewish standpoint, they classify the kids
at
the
13.
males. They a man when they
at 13. That's right.
But the question is, when is a man really into masculinity
Yes.
or becoming a
Yeah.
man?
Good question.
And when do you? There's really no age that you can identify or portray that on, because
Yes.
you got some 9,
Yes.
8,
Yes.
13,
Yes. That's
16,
right.
18,
That's right. That's right.
21.
That's right.
So that lets you know that there it goes back to our manhood core class,
Yes.
and it says there's no lofty vision of true manhood in our
That's right.
society
That's right.
today.
That's right.
So
That's
that
right.
letting you know that
That's right.
our men confused men create major mistakes.
That's right.
And
That's
so,
right. That's right.
by this father being disconnected, he disconnected his son
Yes.
from of those generational curses in of himself. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
my point is that you're not gonna know what a man is
Mm-hmm.
or understand it, because it has one, like we were taught, it has to be bestowed upon
Yes,
you
sir. That's
by
right.
a company man that
Yes.
it was bestowed
Upon them. That's right.
So
That's right.
the boy, he said his father started kissing
Uh-huh.
and hugging and holding him.
At 9 years old,
And
right?
he said it was clear that he couldn't do that anymore. He
Uh-huh.
said it was time for him to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
What does, and the thing that come to me was what I told you before. You have the people who say, do this,
Yes.
this how it should be done, but you don't have the people to show you how it
That's
should
right.
be done.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So we have a lot of talking, but there's no action or no way to show you what it is to be the man. There is no, there's like you said, there, like we talked in the manhood class, there's no lofty vision of manhood in our society. There's none there.
Another thing that God is spoke to me, we talked about it before in broadcast, but it goes back to rejection.
Yes, yes.
You have a father that's been rejecting himself,
Yes.
and rejecting his son,
Yes,
and
yes.
rejecting the duties that God ordained to do.
That's
for
right.
being a father.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
He using the society
Yes.
mechanism and society standards to step away from
Yes.
what God wants
Yes.
to do, which
Yes.
is to watch over his family.
That's right. That's
to
right.
lead, protect,
That-
and provide.
That's right.
Jesus never in his words say, lead and protect and provide for your son or your family to this certain amount of time.
That's right. That's
He
right.
said it until the end.
To the
when he
end.
come.
That's right. That's right.
So that
That's
lets you
right.
know how the enemy has creeped in with word.
Praise God. You got it, brother. You got it. You there.
I had to
You
get
there.
I was just working with that little
That's you. You got it there, brother. You got it there. All right. Powerful analogy, brother. I really like what you said there. Very powerful. All right. Read A and then go down to C, because that's what we really want to tap into.
How many men can tell this story?
Mm.
We are hurting our boys and men. Hold on, God give me no. See, with the touch thing, because you have the fathers who just withdraw from being
Yes.
touching.
Yes.
The other fathers who are being abusive.
Yes.
Abusive touch.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
see, that's
Yes.
another thing that
Yes.
God showed me. You have the touch far as not being touched at all.
Yes.
Then you have the touch.
Mm-hmm.
The inappropriate touch, as far as it's from an abuse standpoint,
Yes,
which
yes.
again
Mm-hmm.
create those issues.
Issues. That's right.
As far as
That's right.
as adolescents growing up.
That's correct.
So
That's
the
correct.
issue that we're dealing with young, we bring into our adulthood.
Sure.
Now we have
Yeah.
again on cycle the generational curse.
That's right. Absolutely.
We are hurting our boys and men
Mm-hmm.
more than any blunt force or assault or simply neglect. We are
Mhm.
actively and systematically damaging our boys,
Yes.
men and males, identified people.
Mm-hmm.
We surround them with image of manlessness,
Yes. Uh-huh.
that celebrates force
Yes.
and control and demonize compliance and emotion.
Yes.
Above all, we are hurting them in one of the most basic ways possible, and we are doing it without laying a hand on them.
That's right.
Literally.
That's right. That's right. Subliminal messages.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Here it is.
And God, when He spoke life
Mm-hmm.
into Adam,
Yes.
and to look deeper into it, He was letting you know. Now that we know, but back then
Uh-huh, yeah.
they didn't see it. But
Yeah.
this is how I'm perceiving the revelation.
Mhm.
God was letting you know that there was gonna be another touch that was
Mhm.
gonna take place.
Yes.
Not physically,
Yes.
but what it just said, as far as with the compliance of emotion and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Demonize compliance and emotion.
That's right. That's
which
right.
is-
That's
go
right.
back to the spiritual warfare.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is one kind of trauma that men in America experience. We should be exploring much more deeply.
That's right. That's right.
It has no official name at this point, and it is not as simple as pointing to a direct victimization or something that is clearly outside of our traditional base realm or more constructive. Let's go back to this that traditional thing.
Tradition kills us.
We live in a society that's so traditional. They're using traditional to distort or to distract or to disconnect.
Yes.
Our men.
That's right. That's right. And it's been, yes, because we have accepted it. We have accepted it because we don't want to do any research, or we don't want to come into the knowledge of God to understand how he has created us as men.
Wow.
So when good God, I'm sorry. We have allowed the enemy to disconnect us.
That's right.
Because we don't want to follow by God's laws and his rules. So what happens is, so when we allow that to happen, then we have become subservient to the enemy.
So first the enemy going to distort the truth.
Yes, he's going to destroy it. Yes.
And destroy it.
Yes.
Then after it's destroyed, you disconnect it.
You
Just
disconnect
like
it.
the Garden
Yes.
of Eden.
Yes.
He distorted the truth.
Truth. That's
to
right.
Eve.
Yes.
Then he came and what's the other word I said?
Disconnect.
Disconnect. That's the last part. Destroy.
Destroy. Yes.
So after he distorted, he came to destroy for us Adam and Eve by
Yes.
completing as one.
Yes. Yes.
And then after he destroyed that for
Yes.
us as that covering God had over Adam for us as in the Garden of Eden.
Yes.
After that was gone, they got disconnected.
That's correct. That's correct. That's right.
They got disconnected.
Well, what does the scripture say? The scripture says that he came to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's man.
That's right.
That's what his job is. And when he does that, then he knows society was on its way down. And it's been going down ever since. Because we buy into the, I always make this point, we always talk about this. God is the originator.
That's right.
The enemy is the intimidator, or he's the counterfeit. Exactly right. That's what he does. He counterfeits everything that God does.
That's right.
So he makes it seem that it's God.
That's right.
But it's not. It's not God.
That's right.
It's not God. So when we get and start believing that stuff, that's why touch isolation has become so homophobia in this world today, because the enemy has come and taken it out of context. That if you touch another man that way, they're gonna look down on you like you're bisexual or homosexual, whatever it may be. You that. But God didn't create that. That's the enemy that created that.
Yes, right.
Okay. All right. Go to D.
Starvation by touch, or what I would call culturally imposed skin hunger. By forbidding touch, particular touch between males, men in our culture experience.
Yes.
I experience life in a world devoid of unconditional human contact.
Yes.
They are ensuing starving for physical contact, and most of them don't even realize it.
Yes, that's right.
The most extreme result is sometimes a complete absence of touch experience in the male's life. There are numerous studies that point to what happens when infants are denied touch, how they fail to strive and develop.
Yes.
Here's a great article from, but this need does not actually change through life. Hence the popularity of massage therapy and other ways in which adults experience human contact for a price.
That's right.
When we are regularly denied the most common and essential life-sustaining elements of existing, food, water, light, we experience trauma.
That's right.
If the body then cannot make the distinction between these kinds of broad differences, then why would it be able to distinguish between the more subtle trauma experience, starving and surviving sexual assault, and when it is denied loving human contact? Let's go back what I said prior, for that as a male, if they not been taught at an early age as far as the appropriate touch, when the inappropriate touch comes, they're not going to be able to distinguish. They're not going to be able to distinguish.
That's right.
Because they never had it.
They never had
it.
If they think it's okay. That's right. That's what happens. And that's the trick of the enemy. That's the trick of the enemy. So, and we get to that trauma part, and then we're going to skip down. We go to the trauma part because this is what we deal with here at MSF. The trauma network. This is the reason for the trauma network, because all men have experienced trauma.
Wow.
But we have not learned how to deal with it because we have not been taught. So what we do with that trauma, we hide it. We put it in a box, we hide it, we do whatever we can. We cut it, we talked about this last week, self-amputation. We cut it off and we don't deal with it no more.
That's right.
We don't want to deal with it. But what happens is when we don't deal with it, it makes it worse for us as we grow older, because we will never be in contact with our emotions. We'll never be in contact with how God really created us to be as loving human beings, not only female, but male as well.
That's right.
Until we get to that point, then we will be able to get in contact with our feelings, so we can be able to translate those feelings to somebody else that really needs it in a time of they're going to despair, hurt, or whatever they're experiencing. That way, it's our job is to go heal them. Good God from Zion, man. Woo, we ain't even gonna go no more on that one. Good God. Let's go now to touch isolation, how homophobia has robbed us of all.
Isolation, how homophobia has robbed all men of touch.
Yes.
Boys imitate what they see. If what they see is emotional distance, guardedness, and coldness between men, they will grow up to imitate that behavior.
Okay.
What do boys learn when they do not see men with close friendship? Where there are no vision models, no visible models
Yes.
of intimacy in a man's life beyond his spouse. Wow.
Okay, we're gonna deal with right now because we ain't gotta go into that stuff. Right there, it tells us right there. Boys grow up and they do, or they imitate what they see.
That's right.
If they don't see these close male friendships, the only thing as a boy, when you grow up as a boy, you see men on the corner drinking beer, getting drunk, chasing after women, and playing sports. That's all they see.
That's right.
Right or wrong. Now, they may at home, their mothers may be loving to them.
That's right.
But if the father's not there, they don't know nothing about a father's love. They don't know nothing about a father's touch that can console them when they're going through pain. It's all right for a woman or a mother to console their child because she's a nurturer.
That's right.
But they don't know nothing about a male being there to transport or to release the healing power through touch to them and let you know, I'm your father, and I love you, and I care for you. I'm here for you. They don't know about nothing about that. All they know is what they see in the street and what they see on TV. So how can they imitate something they never know? So all they're going to do is imitate what's negative and what's bad, and then when they grow up, they're still not able, they're not going to have a productive relationship because they don't even know how to talk to the woman in their life.
Yeah.
You got a good God from Zion, man. That's powerful. What do boys learn when they do not see men with close friendship, where there are no visible models of intimacy? See, there's that word again, intimacy. When we hear that word, we think about sex. We don't think that it's a healing process in the touch. We don't think about that because we don't know that. They don't know that an intimacy touch like God, like I always said, we just talk about the women. A woman need 8 to 10 touches that are not sexual. We as men need to have that touch too in our lives so we can get the healing through another man. It's our father, our uncle, a friend that can, that's why, like I said, goes back to what we talk about, that embrace that we have for one another when we meet each other. It's a healing process that goes through us. Oh man, I'm with the brothers tonight. I feel better already, man. I'm going to meet tonight. Man, we're gonna get something tonight.
Yeah. I got something to get off my chest.
Release. There it is, brother. Good God from Zion. All right, let's go down to the last part. At the end of the page, down at the beginning, at the end. The lack
of gentle, platonic touch in men's lives is a killer.
Yes.
In American culture, we believe that man can never be entirely trusted in the realm of the physical.
Ooh.
We collectively suspect that, given the opportunity, man will collapse into the sexual at a moment's notice. That men don't know how to physically connect otherwise.
Oh my God.
That men can't control themselves. That men are dogs. There is no corresponding narrative, about women.
All right.
Accordingly, it has become every man's job to prove they can be trusted in each and every interaction, day by day and case by case. in part because so many men have behaved poorly, and
Yes.
so
Yes.
we prove our trustworthiness by foregoing physical touch completely, and any contact